He'd walked off before. Would he do it again? The studio lights burned hotter than usual, as if they knew the secret he carried in his clenched jaw. The set gleamed, polished black floors, a crescent of LED panels pulsing soft blues, and a desk that screamed late-night royalty. The audience buzzed, their murmurs a low hum, like bees before a storm. A single spotlight carved a path to the guest chair, empty but waiting. Faint crowd chatter, the air smelled of coffee and anticipation. Brad Pitt strode in, all lean swagger and tailored navy suit, his tie slightly loose, like he tugged it in defiance. His eyes, sharp, ocean blue, scanned the crowd, landing nowhere. A faint smirk played on his lips, but his left hand twitched, betraying a flicker of unease. He sat, crossing one leg over the other, and leaned back, owning the space. Jimmy Kimmel, crisp in a charcoal suit, flashed his trademark grin. "Brad, welcome! You're looking like you just stepped off a movie set. How's it feel to be back in the hot seat?" His voice was warm, but his eyes glinted with mischief. Brad's smirk widened, but his tone was dry. "Feels like I'm about to be grilled, Jimmy. You got the skewers ready?" The crowd chuckled, a ripple of ease. But something in his pause hinted at steel beneath the charm. Why did his hand twitch again? Jimmy leaned forward, elbows on the desk. "Let's start easy. Furiosa, huge hit. You're producing, acting, living the dream. What's the secret to juggling it all?" The question was soft, a lob. Brad tilted his head, his fingers drumming lightly on the armrest. "No secret, man. Just keep moving. Stop and you're done." His voice was casual, but his eyes flicked to the side, like he was dodging an invisible jab. The crowd laughed, but Jimmy's smile tightened. "Moving, huh? You've been moving a lot. New projects, new ventures. Even heard you're into pottery now." Jimmy's grin turned sly. "What's that about? You throwing clay to stay zen?" Brad's laugh was short, sharp. "Pottery's grounding. You make something real. Not like this." He gestured vaguely at the set, the lights, the audience. "This is all smoke." The crowd tittered, unsure if he was joking. Scattered laughs. Jimmy raised an eyebrow. "Smoke? Come on, this is Hollywood. We're all in on the magic, right?" He leaned closer, voice dropping. "Or are you saying you're ready to ditch it all?" Was he serious about walking away? Brad shifted in his seat, his smile fading. "Not ditching. Just picking what matters." His words were measured, but his jaw tightened, a muscle twitching under the stubble. The audience leaned in, sensing a shift. Jimmy pounced. "Picking what matters? Like family? You've been private about that lately. How's co-parenting with Angelina going?" The question landed like a dart, sharp and deliberate. The crowd inhaled, a collective gasp. Gasp. Brad's eyes narrowed, his fingers stilling on the armrest. "We're good, Jimmy. Kids are good. That's all you need to know." His voice was low, almost a growl. The audience shifted, chairs creaking. A woman in the front row whispered to her friend. Jimmy didn't blink. Sure. But fans are curious, you know? You're this open book on screen, but off it? Fort Knox." He chuckled, but it was hollow. "Any chance you'll let us in?" Brad leaned forward, elbows on knees, his stare piercing. "Some doors stay locked for a reason." The crowd murmured, a mix of awe and unease. In the control booth, a producer adjusted her glasses, her hand signaling, "Slow down," to Jimmy. What door was he hiding behind? Jimmy ignored the signal, his grin sharpening. "Locked doors make people curious, Brad. Like that lawsuit with Angelina, winery stuff, big money. Care to clear the air?" The question was a blade, slicing through the polite veneer. The audience leaned forward, phones poised, ready to capture a viral moment. Brad's laugh was bitter, a sound like breaking glass. "You want to talk money? Fine. It's business, not a soap opera." He uncrossed his legs, planting both feet firmly on the floor. "You want to dig, Jimmy, dig somewhere else." Scattered applause. The crowd was split, some clapped, Others whispered. A man in the back row shouted, "Tell him, Brad!" Jimmy raised his hands, feigning innocence. "Hey, just asking what everyone's thinking. You're a legend, man. People want the real you." "The real me?" Brad's voice dropped, dangerous. "You sure about that?" He leaned back, his fingers brushing the mic clip to his lapel, as if testing its weight. Was he about to rip it off? The producer in the booth was on her feet now, gesturing wildly. Jimmy pressed on, undeterred. "Come on, Brad. You've been in the game forever. Oscars, blockbusters, headlines. Ever think about what it's cost you?" His tone was softer now, but the question was a trap, baiting Brad to crack. Brad's eyes flicked to the audience, then back to Jimmy. "Cost me? You want to talk cost?" His voice was steady, but his hands gripped the armrests, knuckles widening. "Everything's got a price. Fame. Family. Truth. You know that, Jimmy. You're selling it every night." The crowd erupted, half cheers, half gasps. Roar of applause. Jimmy's smile faltered, just for a second. "Selling? Ouch. I'm just here to talk, man." He leaned back, trying to regain control. "But okay, let's pivot. Politics. You've been vocal before. Where do you stand now?" Brad's smirk returned, but it was cold. "I stand where I always have, where it makes sense. You want to pin me down, you're gonna need a bigger net." The audience laughed, but it was tense, like a wire about to snap. How much longer could he dodge? Jimmy's eyes gleamed, sensing blood. "No net needed. Just one straight answer. You've got fans on both sides, red, blue, whatever. You gonna pick a lane, or keep playing Switzerland?" The crowd leaned in, hungry for a soundbite. Murmurs. Brad's fingers tapped the mic again, his gaze locked on Jimmy. "You want a lane? Here's one. People deserve better than soundbites." He paused, letting the words sink in. "You keep pushing for a fight, Jimmy. Why? Ratings?" His voice was calm, but it cut like a knife. The audience roared, some clapping, others booing. Jimmy laughed, but it was forced. "Ratings? Nah, just good TV. But okay, let's go deeper. Regrets? You've had a wild ride. Anything you'd take back?" The question hung heavy, a challenge. Brad's eyes darkened. He leaned forward, voice low. "Regrets are private, Jimmy. You don't get those." The crowd went silent, the air thick. Had Jimmy gone too far? The producer was pacing now, mouthing, "Cut to commercial." Jimmy ignored her, his grin almost feral. "Private, huh? But you're here, in front of millions. Nothing's private anymore, right?" He spread his arms, embracing the crowd's energy. Scattered boos. Brad's hand shot to his mic, yanking it off his lapel. The crowd gasped, a collective intake of breath. He stood, towering over the desk, his voice low but thunderous. "You want a show? Make it without me." He tossed the mic onto the desk with a clatter and walked off, his footsteps echoing in the stunned silence. Mic thud. Jimmy froze, his smile gone. The audience erupted, cheers, boos, chaos. The producer threw her hands up, shouting into her headset. Jimmy forced a laugh, turning to the camera. "Well, folks, that's a first. We'll be right back." Cliffhanger action. Where was Brad going, and would he come back? The studio was a pressure cooker, even after the cameras cut. Camera, wide shot, chaotic, the audience buzzed, phones glowing as tweets and clips flooded X. "Brad Pitt walks off Kimmel!" screamed one post, racking up thousands of likes. Another. "Jimmy pushed too far. Hashtag Team Brad." The control booth was a mess, producers shouting, headsets tossed. Muffled wireless, Jimmy sat at his desk, forcing a grin for the crowd, but his eyes darted to the wings where Brad had vanished. Backstage, Brad leaned against the concrete wall, his suit jacket slung over one shoulder. His breaths were sharp, his fists clenched. A stagehand hesitated, then offered a water bottle. Brad waved it off, his voice low. "I'm good. Just need a second." The air smelled of dust and old coffee, a stark contrast to the polished set. His phone buzzed, text from his manager, his publicist, even a friend. "You okay, man?" In the green room, Jimmy paced, his tie loosened. "He'll come back, right?" he asked his producer Sarah, who was scrolling X on her tablet, her face pale. "This is trending worldwide," she muttered. "Half say you're a bully, half say he's a diva." Jimmy snorted, but his hands shook as he grabbed a coffee. He knew what this was. It's the game. Would Brad really let this blow up? Outside, the internet was a wildfire. Clips of Brad's mic drop looped endlessly, memes sprouting like weeds. "When your boss pushes too far," one captioned, showing Brad tossing the mic. Another, Jimmy's frozen grin with, "When you realize you messed up." Fans rallied. Hashtag BradWalks trended, but so did hashtag Kimmel Grills. A gossip site ran a headline. "Pitt's meltdown, is he hiding something?" The comments tore into him, then Jimmy, then both. Brad's phone buzzed again. A text from his daughter. "Dad, you looked badass. But you good?" He smiled, the first real one all night, and typed back, "I'm good, kid. Promise." But his thumb hovered over the screen, his jaw tight. He wasn't sure he believed himself. What was he holding back? Back in the studio, the show resumed, but the energy was off. Jimmy cracked jokes, interviewed a pop star, but the crowd's laughter was hollow. Scattered claps. Sarah pulled him aside during a break. "You went too hard," she hissed. "We're getting calls from his team." Jimmy shrugged, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of doubt. "He'll get over it. It's showbiz." Brad, now in a quiet hallway, called his publicist. "Let it ride," he said, voice steady but tired. "No statement. They'll spin it however they want." He hung up, staring at a poster of Jimmy's grinning face on the wall. For a moment, he considered punching it. Instead, he walked out into the LA night, the city's hum swallowing him. The next day, the storm grew. A morning show dissected the clip, a host saying, "Brad's always been private, but this felt personal." Another chimed in, "Jimmy's job is to push. Did he cross a line?" On X, a fan posted, "Brad's protecting his peace. Respect." But an opponent fired back, "He's just dodging accountability." The divide deepened, each side digging in. Whose side was the truth on? Brad met a friend, Tom, at a quiet diner. The TV in the corner played the clip on mute, Brad's mic toss frozen midair. Tom sipped his coffee. "You planned that?" Brad shook his head, his laugh dry. "Nah. Just snapped." "He kept digging where he shouldn't." Tom nodded. "People love a spectacle. But you gave him one." Brad's eyes darkened. "Maybe they don't deserve it." Across town, Jimmy was in a meeting with network execs. "Ratings are through the roof," one said, but her tone was sharp. "So are the complaints. Tone it down next time." Jimmy nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. He'd pushed for a moment, and he'd gotten it, but at what cost? Camera close up on Jimmy's face, he texted Sarah. "Find him. We need to talk." Could they fix this off camera? Later, in a dimly lit bar, Brad and Jimmy met. No cameras, no audience. Just two men, a bottle of whiskey, and a heavy silence. Glass clinked. Jimmy spoke first, his voice softer than on air. "I didn't mean to corner you, man. It's the job, keep it spicy." Brad swirled his glass, his eyes on the amber liquid. "Spicy's one thing. Digging into my kids? That's a line." Jimmy winced. "Fair. I got carried away." Brad leaned back, his voice low. "You think it's just a show, Jimmy. But every word's a landmine. You don't know what it's like to have your life sliced open for clicks." Jimmy nodded, his usual smirk gone. "I get it. But you're not exactly innocent. You knew the game coming in." Brad's laugh was sharp. "Yeah. Doesn't mean I gotta like it." Was this a truce or a standoff? The conversation shifted, less about blame, more about the machine they both fed. "It's not about truth anymore," Brad said, his voice heavy. It's about who's loudest. Jimmy sighed. And I'm the loud guy. But you? You're the one they listen to. For a moment, they were just two men caught in the same trap, fame's double-edged sword cutting them both. Outside, the world kept spinning. Ex-post slowed, new scandals stealing the spotlight. But the clip lingered, a reminder of a night when two titans clashed over where the line was drawn. Back at the studio, days later, Jimmy addressed the camera. We had a moment last week, he said, his grin softer. Brad and I talked. We're good. Sometimes you push, you learn. The crowd clapped, but it was polite, not wild. SFX, gentle applause. Brad, at home, watched the clip on his phone. He didn't smile, but he didn't frown either. He'd made his point. Jimmy learned to pull back, just a fraction. Brad learned to guard his edges tighter. Both carried the weight of a night that showed the world's hunger for spectacle, and its cost. The clip still circulates, a ghost in the algorithm. Some say Brad won, standing up for his boundaries. Others say Jimmy did, turning a walk-off into ratings gold. But who really pays the price when the lights go down? When the crowd stops cheering, what's left? Dignity? Truth? Or just another story for the machine to churn? Tell us below, what would you have done in that chair? Who won the night, and at what cost?